What's happening, everybody? Marc Farzetta here on the Farzy Show in the Steven Singer Studios. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Well, let's see. It's 6 a.m., so if it was bad already, just stay in bed. But, of course, listen to the show, watch the show, whatever. Put me on the TV, kick back and relax and all that fun stuff. We got a great show today. So much to get to today. We're going to recap a couple of interviews from earlier in the week, little Sounds of the Week segment we're going to do for you today, including yesterday's interview with Alex Singleton. We'll play a clip or two from that. And also our conversation with Ala Abdelnaby that we had earlier in the week in regards to Ben Simmons and whether or not this is salvageable. Now, I told you yesterday, I want to get to this right out of the gate here. I told you yesterday we were going to have a weather lady. I told you yesterday that we were going to give you the weekend forecast at the very least. I made a promise to you, our listening audience, our viewing audience, and I just want to tell you that it's unfortunate that I came through on that promise. Ladies and gentlemen, meet our new friend and first weather lady of the show, Annika.
Hello, Farzy Show. I am Annika, and here's this weekend's Farzy forecast. Friday, partly cloudy, but another hot one with a high of 93 degrees. Saturday, chance of a thunderstorm, high of 93 again. Sunday, partly cloudy with a 60% chance of a thunderstorm, high of 84. Thanks for watching this week's Farzy forecast. I'm Annika for the Farzy Show. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and have a great rest of the week.
I can't believe it. We did it, everybody. We got a weather girl on the show. I did it. By the way, for all you guys out there, that's the lady. That's the lady right there. I'll give you the one. Boom. That's Annika, new friend of the show. So let me just tell a little story. Luigi, who has made the request many times more than anybody, leads the league in weather girl requests. It hit me up, throughout really since we started the show. And he's like, "Let me tell you, there's something, fella. You need a weather girl." So I said, "All right, we'll work on it." And then literally, this took me back to my wing bowl days of trying to get ladies to show up somewhere at like 4 a.m. And I finally would get them to show up at 4 a.m. to the event. So I booked this one lady on Wednesday. And she's like, "Oh, yeah, I'd love to do it. Great." And flake. And then I book another lady to do it and flake. And then I was talking to some other people yesterday and still just nobody wanted to do it. And finally I reached out to my cousin-in-law. For all the people out there referencing an old story from my radio days, you bite your tongue or your thoughts. I don't know. And she was like, "Oh, I know someone will do it." Boom. Put me in touch with Annika. Annika's like, "Yeah, let's party." Boom, Annika. And look, Annika loves pizza. One more time. There you go. And you saw her Instagram right there. And make sure you give her a follow. Our new friend of the show, Annika. And don't worry, I can only imagine that I'm going to play that once or twice before the show's out. I don't know. It just makes me laugh. I don't know if it makes other people laugh. But I always enjoyed one of my personal heroes in broadcasting, David Letterman, would just take a joke and just beat the crap out of it and just keep on going. So I might just, I promise I won't be too annoying with it today, but just semi, maybe. You get the idea. But we'll probably hit it again a little bit later in the program as well. All right, let's get to some news. Let's get to some sports conversation, right? That's what this show mostly is. But here's what we got. We got the Richard Sherman stuff. I told you I didn't want to just jump to anything and just start talking like a lot of other people. Just start talking about it when it was hard to get all the facts together. Well, the facts are together, and it ain't pretty, to say the least. So we'll get to that story. We'll also get to what TMZ has been putting out about it, which is just bonkers. We also got a special birthday for somebody in Philadelphia that we'll get to in a minute. We got some Phillies conversation today regarding Cole Hamels, and we got some Deshaun Watson news. And let's start it off right there with our Philadelphia Eagles, because all of a sudden, the Philadelphia Eagles have become the talk of the nation because we're all waiting to see what happens with Deshaun Watson. And as I described yesterday, the Eagles are the team in the NFL that are they're in the weeds, and they're just waiting to pounce on Deshaun Watson. So a friend of the show, Mike Tannenbaum, goes on Get Up yesterday. And, it's unfortunate when sometimes when you're doing an interview, you're trying to set somebody up to tell you something that they told you before, and they don't verbatim say it. But Mike Greenberg tells basically a little mini story of what Mike Tannenbaum told him before the show. So this is what you call doing the show in the green room. And there's no illusion. It's no reference to Mike Greenberg. But you do the show in the green room where you say something and then you don't say it exactly the way you wanted to during the show because in your mind you already said it one way. It's a weird thing. And here it is yesterday on the show. What the heck's it called? Where I put it somewhere in my notes, and now it's gone, and that's terrible. But let's start it off with Adam Schefter, and we'll get to this first and foremost out of the gate. Adam Schefter giving us the absolute latest on everything going on with Deshaun Watson and the Philadelphia Eagles.
He wants out of Houston. He doesn't want to be there. I think the Texans have mentally and physically prepared to move on without Deshaun Watson. And so the question becomes, when do the Texans trade Deshaun Watson? Is it this summer, this season, after the season? I personally think they'll wait until his value is restored and they don't have to sell him, trade him off at a discount at any price. But if and when they do come to the point that they are ready to trade him, there is no team out there better positioned and better armed to go trade for Deshaun Watson than the Philadelphia Eagles. They already have 2 first-round draft choices. They have a potential 3rd first-round draft choices. They have depth on their roster at certain spots. They are out of the conference. If there's anybody that can make a deal for Deshaun Watson when Houston is ready, I would watch Philadelphia. I would just say this. You're right. Absolutely. A lot of teams would be interested in Deshaun Watson. But again, just to repeat what I said, no team is better positioned to make a trade for him than the Eagles.
There you go. And that, by the way, that little montage, that little clip was put together by our friends at Philadelphia Sports Nation, as a matter of fact. So make you check them out at phlsportsnation.com. Here it is. This is Mike Tannenbaum. I did have it in here. I'm just a big fat idiot. Here's Mike Tannenbaum talking about with Mike Greenberg as well.
You were telling me this morning that it's something of an open secret in league circles that Philly is a likely destination?
No question about it, Greeny. If you think about their situation, they have 3 number 1 picks. I put them absolutely number 1 to try to acquire Deshaun Watson. He would make them an instant contender for years to come if they could get that done. Ironically, the other 2 teams, in my opinion, are Carolina and Miami. And Miami and Philadelphia made a trade shortly before the draft where Philadelphia has Miami's first-round pick next year. That may tip the balance in terms of they have a little bit more ammunition than Miami does to try to get Deshaun Watson. So if, as you mentioned, if his situation gets cleared up criminally and civilly, there's no question in my mind Philly's at the top of the list, and I would expect them to be very aggressive to try to get Watson.
Did you catch that part of it? Mike Greenberg pretty much gave the quote. Mike Tannenbaum confirmed that's what he said, but didn't say it. But anyway, you get the idea. The Eagles are the team that is just waiting to pounce. And if it's the best known secret, I don't know if that makes any sense. It's a horribly kept secret, worst kept secret. This just seems to be the moment that the Eagles have been waiting for. Well, first, what they're waiting for is all the legal ramifications that come out when you have 25 different women accusing you of sexual misconduct. So, yeah, wait for that to pan out a little bit and see how that goes. Even if I know you're going to have a lot of people in Philadelphia looking at this going, well, what about, morality and all that? Well, that's why they're waiting to see exactly how everything plays out to find out what they're going to do here. The only negative thing in terms of football, just football here, the only negative thing that I look at the Deshaun Watson thing, I'm looking at a 25-year-old, soon to be 26, and you have 3 first-round picks. Why wouldn't you just wait to draft a quarterback? Like, I know that you might not have Deshaun Watson there in the waiting, and you have a proven commodity, but why not wait and draft a quarterback, save money, and potentially get somebody that can play in this league anyway? Now, look, far be it from me to play the money aspect, because there's been plenty of situations where I've gone, oh, no, you got to spend the money, you got to win now, that whole thing. So it's unlike a media member or a fan to say, oh, no, don't you guys want to save money? But in the NFL, when it's so crucial, I think you have to really consider that, especially when you see other teams drafting young guys and building their own quarterbacks and putting them together. But the Eagles tried that with Carson Wentz, and it blew up in their face. But then again, they were ready to spend money with Carson Wentz. They did spend money with Carson Wentz at the time, giving him the most guaranteed money in the history of the position, the history of sports, history of football, when it comes to everything that they were willing to give to Carson Wentz. So now they're looking at it going, well, I guess either way we're saving money with Deshaun Watson, so no big deal. Either way we're spending money. If it's Carson Wentz or Deshaun Watson, who gives a damn? But as far as the picks go, as I was saying to you yesterday, and I'll back it up again now, you're talking about 2, most likely 3 first-round picks. In the NFL, that's called a blank check. You can do anything you want with 3 first-round picks. You can move up to number 1 if you wanted to, no matter who the quarterback is. If you want him, boom, you can move up to number 1, and you're good to go. So when it comes to a potential move, yes, the Eagles have more stock than anybody. They have more assets than anybody. So if they want Deshaun Watson, 25, 26-year-old quarterback, and they want to deal him, and they want to deal all those picks to the Texans for him, then maybe even they send Jalen Hurts there, and guess what? That's exactly what's going to go down. That's exactly what's going to happen. And I just find it very odd that the Eagles wouldn't want to build their own quarterback. And as I've said throughout this offseason, since Carson Wentz was traded, the Eagles are not looking at Jalen Hurts as Mr. Right. They're looking at him as Mr. Right now. After all this news that has come out regarding Deshaun Watson, he's not even Mr. Right now. At this point, it feels like Jalen Hurts is not even Mr. Right now. It feels like he is. I went to the bar. I didn't see anybody I liked. Nobody liked me. Let me go to this other bar. Nobody liked me. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me spend a whole bunch of money at this other bar buying drinks for everybody. No, nobody likes me still. And then you go home, and then you're just texting people. Hey, you want to come over? Netflix and chill? And then the fourth person they text is Jalen Hurts. And he comes over. Meanwhile, they're monitoring Deshaun Watson's social media and being like, oh, look at that. They were just at the bar I was at. Oh, maybe I should go to this next bar because it looks like they're at that other bar now. They're basically stalking them is what's happening. But that's how I envision it in my big idiot brain. We'll get a little bit more on that, on the Eagles, that is, a little bit later in the show, so we'll continue to break that down for you. We also have some Ben Simmons stuff we're going to get to. Another team emerging in the Ben Simmons sweepstakes. We talked about 5 teams, potentially, from the David Murphy column in Inquirer yesterday. We'll talk about that a little bit further because there's 2 other teams that weren't in that column that one was highlighted again yesterday. But I want to make sure we get this in as well. Cole Hamels, ladies and gentlemen, works out today. And I was looking at the teams that are going to be in attendance. There's 5 teams that are going to be in attendance for the Cole Hamels workout in Texas today. And one of the teams is the Philadelphia Phillies. And it would get me right in the fields. I'm not going to lie. It would get me right in the fields if Cole Hamels became a Philadelphia Philly again. The other team is the New York Mets. The New York Mets are one of the 5 other teams, along with the Phillies, that are going to be at Cole Hamels workout today. I don't care what the price is. I, in my life, cannot see Cole Hamels in a Mets uniform. Dave Dombrowski, John Middleton, for the love of all that is sacred in the world of baseball, please prevent, with all your power, all your might, all your will, please Do not let Cole Hamels ever don a Mets uniform. Thank you. It would hurt my heart. As much as I would love to see Cole in a Phillies uniform, I would just as much, if not more so, probably more so, definitely more so, almost be reduced to tears if I ever see Cole Hamels start against the Phillies wearing a Mets uniform. And I think I speak for every human who's ever cheered for the Philadelphia Phillies at any point in their lives, even if it's because they were playing a team you hated. I can't see. I need to go the rest of my life knowing that I've never seen Cole Hamels in a Mets uniform. If we could just do that for me, please, dear God, oh, please, that would be wonderful. That's all I ask. I don't ask too much. I try not to ask too much, but that's all I'm asking right now when it comes to Cole Hamels, comes to what team you can play for next, just as long as it's not the Mets. That's my only rule. It's my only guideline. I could even take the Yankees, and the Yankees, they're probably at the workout. I don't know. But if they are, I could even take that. I couldn't take, even for a second, seeing him in a Mets uniform. And here's the good thing. If that's the way I feel about it, then I guarantee you that's how John Middleton feels about it. Because I think if anything proves to be correct, John Middleton he's just like us in terms of emotion. He's just like us in terms of, what? Can't let that happen. Like, this guy went after Bryce Harper more than Manny Machado because of a poll done by Todd Zalecki of MLB.com. Let's not forget that. Who would you rather have, Manny Machado or Bryce Harper? And all the fans, the majority of the fans chose Bryce Harper. So John Middleton's like, all right, let me throw $330 million at Bryce Harper and make sure he's a Philly. So, yeah, he definitely plays off the fan base's emotions because, again, he's just like us in that regard. And if that's a big deal, then guess what? He's going to go after Cole Hamels. Now, the other part of this is that it all boils down to whether or not Cole Hamels can still pitch. I'm assuming if he's having a workout for major league teams and there's going to be teams there in attendance, then, I'm assuming that Cole Hamels is going to be throwing it around rather well. And if that's the case, I need him at least in the back end of this rotation. So let's just get this out of the way. I'm not expecting 2008 Cole Hamels to be pitching for this team. I'm not expecting 2011 Cole Hamels to be pitching for this team. 2012 Cole Hamels. I'm expecting a fourth or fifth starter in your rotation. I'm expecting a solid left-handed pitcher in the back end of your rotation. I'm also expecting a 37-year-old pitcher to help, share some trade secrets with some of the younger guys on this staff, both in the bullpen and in the rotation. And maybe you get Spencer Howard next to him as well, and Cole Hamels can start talking him up a little bit. That's what I'm expecting. And then above all else, the feels. That's it. The feels. And as people are pointing out right now, Julian, for instance, just expecting him to be better than Matt Moore. Yeah, let's do that. Let's hope that he's better than Matt Moore, and we can all move on with our lives. That's all I'm asking for. I don't feel like it's too much. I feel like it's just right when it comes to what we are requesting from a pitcher in our starting rotation. Just be an innings eater a little bit here. Help us out. Be better than Matt Moore. It's not that. It's not too much to ask. That's what I got for you right there. I'm at a point right now where I'm starting to look at everybody writing up stories about how the Phillies are facing the easiest schedule in the second half of the season. I'm at a point now where I am eager for training camp, and until then, less than 2 weeks away, I am looking at everything across the board with the Phillies just to see how the second half of the season plays out. And everybody to a man, I think it was Paul Hembekides, as a matter of fact, I put it out as well. The Phillies faced one of the roughest schedules in the first half of the season, pre-All-Star break. And now, in the post-All-Star break world that they're going to be living in now, they face the easiest schedule by far in all of Major League Baseball. I am all about that life. The only thing that bothers me about it is that what if the Phillies become one of those teams that all of a sudden are an easy schedule, an easy 3-game series for another team? They start off with the Marlins with a doubleheader, so that's not going to be easy right out of the gate. But they cannot play down to their opponents. And one of the most encouraging things about how they wrapped up the first half of the season before the All-Star break was that they won 3 games against the Cubs in Chicago. Really, if there were 3 games against the Cubs in Philly and they won 3 out of 4, I'd be like, oh, they're home. They're a good home team, and they're playing a bad team. Then they won 2 out of 3 against the Boston Red Sox in Boston at Fenway. Again, on the road. So I'm looking at it going, things are looking up. And they finished the first half of the season as one of the hottest teams in baseball, winning 7 of the last 10 before the break. So all that makes you feel good. That's what I want to see from this team going forward. That's what I need to see from this team as the season continues. So let's cross our fingers that that's actually the way it happens. And if you have to guess, and please give me some, hit me up on the chat as well, how you see the Phillies doing over the next 2.5 months. Before we get to September, we got, let's see here, what's it, the 16th of July? Let's see, a month and a half before we get to August, or excuse me, before we get to September. All we ask for a lot of times is meaningful games in September. I can all but guarantee you right now, come September 1st, they're going to be playing meaningful games. By the end of that month, by the middle of that month, we'll get a much better picture of where they are. They're starting out the post-All-Star break, 3.5 games behind the New York Mets. Mets are obviously sniffing Cole Hamels. So are the Phillies. We'll see how that plays out. But as far as the rest of this season goes from this point on, how do you think the Phillies pan out? Meaningful games in September? I almost guarantee that. Playoff team? That's what they're going to be pushing for. I need to see that drought ended. And on top of it all, I see Dave Dombrowski making a move to make the Phillies better right now. At this trade deadline coming up in 2 weeks, I see Dave Dombrowski doing something to make the Phillies better right now. Even if they're a couple of games below 500, all they have to do is not go completely in the tank and lose 10 in a row between now and the trade deadline. I see him making a move to make this team better right now. So what am I telling you? I'm telling you that the Phillies are going to be buyers for a number of reasons. One, I think, first of all, I love the idea that they're at least going to this workout. And I think they would kind of have to, because I think we revolt as a city. So they can get better just by throwing money at something. With no trades, no prospects you have to give up for the limited amount you have. You just get better automatically by throwing a lefty in the back end of your rotation, like Cole Hamels, for instance. The other thing is I could see them going out and making a deal. Not huge. I like Nelson Cruz. I would think would be a big deal for them to go out and get Nelson Cruz. I've seen his name thrown out there. I would love to see them get Chris Bryant. We've been talking about it all week, especially since the All-Star game where he said center field is his favorite position, and the Phillies can still very much use a center fielder, despite Odubel Herrera coming out like gangbusters when he started out his major league career again. He's really cooled off since. Love to see Chris Bryant in center field. Love to see him in other spots in the outfield as well if you got to give Andrew McCutchen a day off or two. I love all that. I think those deals are almost too big because I think other teams can offer bigger packages. And when it comes to a deal that's already been made, we've been talking about the Braves and what they're going to do with Acuna being out. Well, they just traded for Jock Peterson. So deals are already starting to move. So the Cubs already started selling a little bit. They gave up a prospect the Braves gave up a first base prospect for Jock Peterson. So moves are already starting to be made in Major League Baseball. I think the Phillies will be involved. I think the Phillies will be on the phone when it comes to trades. And I do think they end up making a deal that does make them just a little bit better. It's probably going to be along the lines of a middle reliever, bullpen help. I don't think it's going to be a huge splash. But, man, I really would love it to grab some people's attention. And I think that's ultimately what needs to happen in a lot of these different scenarios is you need to bring in somebody that is going to get a lot of attention before you start up with football. Because once that starts up, I don't really know where we go from there. But here's all you need to know. The Union have a game on Saturday. We haven't talked too much about the Union. They just locked up their goalie for the foreseeable future. Nice big contract for him. But when people yell, and it happens more often than not in the sports radio world as opposed to the digital media, but people will yell and scream about Flyers conversation. They're talking about the Flyers. How come we always talk Eagles, right? Consider this. How you pronounce the last name of a guy who has been in our city for a decade, how you pronounce that guy's name, a guy that won a Super Bowl here, a guy that we've heard him say his own name 1,000,000 times, how you pronounce that guy's last name is the biggest story in Philadelphia sports right now. And why is that? Well, because he's a beloved figure. Jason Kelce. If you haven't seen this story, it's insane. Jason Kelce's brother, Travis Kelce, I believe goes on a Barstool podcast, I think it was. And he was asked about his the subject of his last name came up. And he said, my last name's actually Kels, but people always went with Kelce, so I just go with the flow. And everyone like, what? So everyone starts thinking about Jason Kelce. And I saw that story. I heard that story. And I have talked to Jason Kelce a number of times. We've all heard Jason Kelce speak a million times. He always says, "Hi, I'm Jason Kelce." He says his own name, Kelce. So then I started thinking to myself, is that is Kels some like traditional, like European ancestor way to say it? Like somebody just started saying it different in America? And he told the story yesterday, told WIP Radio, that his father went by Kels, but he hated correcting people because they would always say Kelce. And now looking at it now, I'm looking at the name and I'm like, oh yeah, it's totally Kels. What the hell was I ever thinking? But it's because he always said Kelce. Jason Kelce always said Jason Kelce. So now I'm hoping that Jason Kelce doesn't go out there and pull a Todd McCullough and go Todd McCulloch, as I was actually joking about yesterday anyway. But what if at the end of his career, Jason Kelce becomes a broadcaster and he starts going by Jason Kels? I'll feel like I didn't even know that guy. That guy that was, in the Mummer outfit on top of the Art Museum steps that was warming my heart when I was just watching everything unfold in front. So when people say, why do you talk Eagles? Why do you talk so much football? I'll tell you why. Because so many people give a damn. So many people give a damn that the way a guy pronounces his name, even though he's been saying his name this particular way, is actually different than the way he's been saying it. That's a huge story. And I thought about that yesterday. Well, everyone was like, oh, well, how about that? I didn't know that. I was thinking, yeah, and look, it's taken over every website. It's taken over every show, how you pronounce the guy's name. Phillies are 3.5 games out of first place. Sixers could be trading a number 1 overall pick in Ben Simmons. But what do people want to talk about? They want to talk about how Jason Kelce pronounces his name. There you go. So there you go. All right. I promised a couple of things. But first, let me tell you about my good friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Ladies and gentlemen, do what I do. Go to Steven Singer for all your big jewelry needs. The big engagement rings, Steven Singer. He's got Ready for Love diamond engagement rings, and Steven Singer wants to make sure you get taken care of for that big purchase, that diamond engagement ring. And also get taken care of when it comes to that special gift for someone special in your life. Go to the other corner of 8th and Walnut or IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com for all the things going on in your life, all your big purchases for Steven Singer and Steven Singer Jewelers. All the big buys, you go to Steven Singer. You know why? Because every single time you're going to get taken care of with the perfect price. You don't have to worry about negotiating, none of that. You just go in there worrying about what you want to buy. And you have real jewelry experts standing by to help you along in that entire process. Go to the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right in Center City, Philadelphia, or simply go to IHateStevenSinger.com for fast and free shipping. I see some people, unfortunately, missed our report. I see some people missed our weather report. We'll get back to it later in the day. Don't you worry. But first, before I jump to anything else, this is the part of the show we usually go to a guest. No guest today because we had so much going on from Deshaun Watson, Cole Hamels, Jason Kelce's last name. I wanted to make sure I recap some stuff. I want to get back into the Ben Simmons conversation and revisit some of the stuff that Allah Abdelnaby told us earlier in the week. And then I want to jump into the new team that kind of burst out onto the scene yesterday when it comes to a deal for Ben Simmons. Here's Allah Abdelnaby on Ben Simmons and whether or not this is salvageable today. Take a listen. Or this is him earlier in the week with us. Is it salvageable at this point with Ben Simmons? Do you think Ben can come back to Philadelphia? Do you think Ben would improve in Philadelphia? Is it salvageable, the relationship with the Sixers, the rest of the team, and Ben Simmons?
I think the only way is if he comes back after having worked really, really hard on some of the things he needs to work on. I'm reminded of listening to the Lakers Celtics stuff from back in the day. Magic Johnson comes in the league. He gets 42 points and 17 rebounds in Philadelphia in Game 6. And he's on cloud 9, and he says, the thing I worked on all summer long, learning from what I learned my rookie year, was I had to come back and be a better free throw shooter because I had the ball in my hand. So if I wanted to be out on the floor with the ball in my hand, I had to shoot free throws better. And this is after winning a championship and being the man of the championship. He was finals MVP. He crushed on the road. Kareem didn't play. He could have easily just said, I'm good, but he didn't. And I think we need to see some improvement. That's the bottom line. I think, if you're the same player you were years ago, that's not good enough. We're not bashing the guy. We see so much potential in him. I'm 6'10". I never moved like this gazelle out on the floor moved. And because of that, I think we expect more.
I think a lot of us don't realize the high compliment we actually give Ben Simmons. And this is also going to start me down a slippery slope here, because I try not to pay attention too much what the national media says, but something dawned on me over the weekend, through the week, that just really stuck with me, and I'm irritated by it. I try not to let things irritate me, but I'll get to that in just a second. But what Allah is telling us there is that the Sixers, if they trade Ben Simmons, there's no confidence that he is going to put in the work to become a better basketball player when he is so close to being a phenomenal basketball player. You can talk about different intricacies of his game and how good they are and how great he is at those intricacies, but ultimately he is turning a blind eye to a lot of other things going on in his game. Turning a blind eye to foul shooting, a mid-range game, three-pointers are the next thing. But he seems to not care to want to improve on those things. And I know he can do it. And the fact that he won't do it is the bigger issue. So maybe a trade is the thing that shakes him up enough to go, oh, wow, the team that drafted me number one overall and gave me $177 million, they don't have any more confidence in me anyway. If he's just going to go, oh, the hell with that, $177 million, I'm good to go. That's bad, as far as I'm concerned, because I like to think of most people in Philadelphia as competitors. And when most people in Philadelphia are competitors and one-star athlete is not a competitor, that's troublesome. That's worrisome. And if the Sixers trade Ben Simmons, they're looking at him and going, wow, this guy, so close to being all-around great. So close, in fact, that he doesn't do the one most basic thing in the sport. He doesn't want to win. And ultimately, that's what you want from your athletes. Like, it's funny, like, in talking to some guys throughout the week, like Alex Singleton, Al Abdelnabi, I asked him, what do you expect from what do you think the city expects from you? And all we really expect is you to give a damn. It's funny, if you just work your ass off consistently, we're gonna love you. We're gonna respect you. I made the example earlier in the show, earlier in the week, about Brian Dawkins. Like, Brian Dawkins didn't win a championship here. He just played with the same amount of enthusiasm and passion that any fan in the stands would play with if they had the ability to play on the football field. Chase Utley did the same thing, but Chase Utley won here. We identify with those people because you know why? We're paying our hard-earned money, and it might sound cliche, but we're paying our hard-earned money to go to these games, watch these athletes, and when we see somebody lollygagging, we're like, why did I pay this? So I can watch this guy not at least hustle down the first baseline, or at least hustle up and down the court, or at least shoot a jump shot. So that's one of the things that could go very south with Ben Simmons. Because if he comes out next year and he's the same type of player, there'll be a revolt. I think it'll start out with a grace period. I think that they'll cheer him if he hits a jump shot. I think they'll cheer him if he hits a foul shot. I think if he misses a foul shot, it won't be boos raining down upon him. I think the Philadelphia fan base will be patient for a game or two, but that's it. Because we've already seen 3-4 seasons of this from Ben Simmons. We don't want to see any more of it from Ben Simmons. That is if he is here. If he's not here, I think the Sixers tell you right out of the gate, yeah, this kid doesn't have it. We're done. And the team that popped up yesterday, and you might have seen it once or twice, but it became a little bit more than a forefront yesterday, is the San Antonio Spurs are interested in Ben Simmons, and they're supposedly kicking the tires on Ben Simmons. The San Antonio Spurs were not in the piece by David Murphy that I highlighted yesterday. Also, other than the Spurs, the Portland Trailblazers seem to be a team that are kind of going more by the wayside. They were also not mentioned in David Murphy's column yesterday. The Blazers, really the only thing that the Sixers have going for the Blazers and making a trade there is the fact that Ben Simmons seems to be on the market at least, and that Dame Lillard may want out of Portland. Other than that, those are the only two stories. There's no Sixers having conversations with the Blazers for a Ben Simmons, Dame Lillard. There's no report of that trade possibly happening. There's only speculation because if this, then that. Well, if Dame Lillard wants out and Ben Simmons is being traded, if that's all true, then possibly those two teams could link up. There's only speculation. There's no report saying that those two teams are in conversation or kicking the tires on a potential Damian Lillard, Ben Simmons trade. It could certainly happen. I'm rooting for it to happen. I'm crossing my fingers that it actually does happen because I think that's the ultimate trade that will put the Sixers over the top. By the way, happy birthday, Dame Lillard turned 31. That's what I'm waiting in the weeds for myself to see if that actually happens. And I don't think Daryl Morey is going to unload Ben Simmons for a half rack of basketballs or anything like that. I think Daryl Morey has his laser focus on Dame Lillard, and if he's able to pull the trigger on that deal, he's going to pull the trigger on that deal. By the way, Ala obviously joined us there on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Make sure you use Rothman Orthopaedics for all your orthopedic needs. So that's what you got as far as basketball goes for today. And then you also have Ala telling us that the comparison that he has is Magic Johnson. And that's kind of where he loses some people in terms of that comparison. Not that it's not a good comparison. I believe what Ala is telling us there is that Magic Johnson won a championship, was an MVP, and was like, all right, cool, how do I get better? I think, and this has been my problem since watching Ben Simmons all the way back at LSU, you never want to see your top pick look like he doesn't care about the game. And my worst fear has come true with Ben Simmons, and as I've stated before, watching him at LSU and watching him now in the pros, I see a lot of the same stuff. And it's not that I see a guy necessarily that doesn't care. It's that during a game, I see a guy who looks like he hasn't cared off the court to get better on the court. And I've gone from watching him look like a guy who doesn't care to looking at a guy who looks scared. And that's also something you never want to see from one of your top players, from a 3-time All-Star, nonetheless. You never want to see that guy look scared, as he did in the playoffs. So if Ala's coming out and telling us that, well, Matt, look at Magic Johnson's game. Look how he decided to become a better free throw shooter after winning a championship. And Ben Simmons hasn't reached that height, obviously. Hasn't been past the second round of the playoffs. Has been shut down in 2 separate playoff series, offensively speaking. One against the Boston Celtics in his first playoff series where he scored only 1 point. And then the other one was most recently against, well, first off, he got shut down against the Wizards. And then he got shut down, obviously, in Game 7 against the Hawks and throughout other games in that series, especially in the fourth quarter, to the point where he was taken off the court. If that's not motivating to get better, to get to the next level, then, and this is what he's going to be for the rest of his career, then I'm more than happy to trade him. The only reason I want to hold on to him is because I believe he is so close to actually being that elite or all-around talent in the NBA, to the point where you're talking about him as a top 3 player. If he can't take it to the next level, especially after watching Giannis, and I hope he's watching Giannis in this playoffs, in this finals, man, you're not that far from being that. If the Sixers are trading them, they're telling you right out of the gate, it ain't happening here. Ben Simmons is not going to have the work ethic, he's not going to have the desire, and he's not going to have the drive to be better. And ultimately, I think that's what Al Abdelnaby told us earlier in the week. Before we get to our good friend Alex Singleton, and just so I want to recap some other stuff, because the one more thing on Ben Simmons, as far as I shouldn't let this bother me, but I do let it bother me, that I alluded to earlier. If Ben Simmons gets traded, that's going to make us look bad. And here's the thing. I don't give a damn, usually, about this stuff. But I'm just so sick of hearing it because I still hear it in ties to Carson Wentz. When the Eagles messed that up, we weren't driving him out of town. The Eagles drove him out of town. Danny Green's comments kind of put the focus back on the 76ers fan base and the Philadelphia fan base, and it's unjust. It's just not right. As I've said earlier in the week, Danny Green is coming from a very privileged position of a guy who's won 3 championships in his NBA career, while the city of Philadelphia, what have we won with this Sixers team? 2 championships, 1967 and 1983. Yeah, okay. So Danny Green has more championships than the 76ers as a franchise, and he wants to tell us about being loyal. Okay, thanks. But here's the thing. If Ben Simmons gets traded, oh, look what Philadelphia did with Ben Simmons. Top-notch talent and couldn't move on. So then it becomes us as a team, as a city that drove him out. When you have national media members, i.e. the ESPYs, making fun of Ben Simmons putting up so many bricks he builds an orphanage. Cool. That was something that crossed my mind. And I promise I wouldn't let it get to me, but on this Friday, it's really gotten to me. Let me tell you about our friends at Rothman Orthopaedics, ladies and gentlemen. Remember the old you? The one that didn't have to put up with a fickle knee or a finicky hip or a shoulder that no longer does what a shoulder should do? The approach at Rothman Orthopaedics is here to get you back to being you, back to running, back to walking, back to working, and back to playing, back to living your life the way you want. With same-day appointments available, you can start today at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Rothman Orthopaedics, the official orthopedic partner of your Phillies, Eagles, and Sixers. How about our friends at Steak and Maine at SteakandMaine.com? Fine dining in the heart of Northeast Maryland. Whether you dine in a more upscale steakhouse or casual bar and patio, you'll enjoy the highest quality of prime meats, fresh seafood, world-class oyster bar, and freshly prepared sushi. All that in an extensive wine list, including their own Cavada Cellars wines. Open every day for lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Steak and Maine in Northeast Maryland, voted #1 place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel. Check it out for yourself at steakandmaine.com for more information. Also, I referenced them earlier. They put together that great little montage of Mike Tannenbaum and Adam Schefter talking about what could happen with Deshaun Watson, and that's the people at PHL Sports Nation. PHL Sports Nation, PHLSportsNation.com, a Philadelphia sports site covering all Philadelphia sports across blogs and all social media. Check it out for yourself at PHLSportsNation.com, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. And FanUp had some more challenges roll in. My friend Natalie Eganoff is on FanUp. You can challenge her as well as challenge me. I'll be putting out some posts a little bit later today. FanUp, download the FanUp app in the App Store and get 2,000 bonus points to get you started. Think how many challenges you can have with that, how many things you can do in fantasy sports with that. You can win gift cards as well. You can win brand prizes, a pair of Jordans, Louis Vuitton bag, Peloton bike, all sorts of great stuff. They just gave away a Nike gift certificate, as a matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago for $200. All that. For just challenging some people. You can answer fun questions. You can enter their weekly contest. Have yourself a good time at the FanUp app. FanUp, just be fans. I mentioned earlier I was going to do a check-in. I'm going to do that, obviously, in a minute. We also have our morning rush that we're going to get to today, as well as a player's birthday. So before I get to our friend Alex Singleton from yesterday, I want to check in with our social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine and SteakandMaine.com. Let's jump to this. Well, all right. Should I do it again? I'll do it again. For the people that missed it earlier in the show, let's just lead it off with this. In case you missed it earlier, here's our weather girl.
Hello, Farzy Show. I am Annika, and here's this weekend's Farzy forecast. Friday, partly cloudy, but another hot one with a high of 93 degrees. Saturday, chance of a thunderstorm, high of 93 again. Sunday, partly cloudy with a 60% chance of a thunderstorm, high of 84. Thanks for watching this week's Farzy forecast. I'm Annika for The Farzy Show. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and have a great rest of the week.
Yes, I'm pretty proud of myself. Anyway, here's our social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine at SteakandMaine.com. Let's see what we got going on here in the comment section. Dan Swartz started it off. Special guest, blank. What? Good morning, all. Good morning, Dan. We on time today? Yeah, that's right. We're on time today. Thank you again for all the people that hung out with us yesterday when we were a little late getting things started. What's up, April? Weather Girl Friday. Damn right, T-Bro. What's popping? Oh, all these people ask. April's checking for Luigi. Where's Luigi? We have the Weather Girl today. And there's Luigi, all caps. Let's go, Mark. Thank you. I did nothing but hustle my ass off to make sure that we could get you guys fulfilling, just to make sure I can fulfill my promise to you. That's all. Wow, thank God, says Dan. Luigi says, never doubted you. Holy Sealski, good stuff. Thank you, Dan. Let's see here. It's T-Bro. Again, I even said it, not my freaky cousin. This person is of no blood relation to me. The person that helped me book our weather later today. She's my wife's cousin. And she is one of the very, very few people in my house that is what I like to call pop-in status. Meaning that any day, any moment, there could be a knock on my door, open it up. Hey, come on in. Hey, just pop it in. She's very, very, very rare. That used to be a big deal back in the day, the pop-in status. No, I have a list. I have a velvet rope. And if you're not on it, there's no pop-in. And right now, there's like one person on the pop-in list. And that's my wife's cousin, who's originally from Idaho, as a matter of fact. So she's living out here on the East Coast. She doesn't have any the family that close. We're the closest family to her. So, of course, as a man who prides himself on being a family man all around, pop-in status right there. So anyway, it was her friend that her friend Annika that was nice enough to do our weather report. She was like, "Yeah, I'm down to party." And apparently, look, she loves pizza. I mean, how do you not? Look, boom. Tell me that right there isn't Farzy show material. Just crushing pizza. You fancy. Anyway, Farzy came up big. No, it's not. Again, wow, a lot of freaky. It's amazing to me that bit. I talked about that maybe twice on the radio, and everybody else talked about it probably every day. Bob would always bring it up. Trey obviously would bring it up. Jamie, callers would reference it, and now I'm the freaky cousin guy. What else do we got here? That montage is fire. Thank you, T-Bro. Luigi. Now do we do a blind date? What's next? No, there's no blind date. Farzy the matchmaker. Yeah. Sherman video is nuts. We're going to get to that in our morning rush. I'm not going to show it. If you haven't seen it, you can find it. It's easy, but I just don't want to put it on my show. It's just weird. How do you spell her name? Dan, you thirsty bastard. April's checking back in. Weather Girl promise delivered. April, Carolina does not deserve him. These are some of the most fair weather fans I have ever seen. Carolina does not deserve him. Who does Carolina not deserve? I missed the name. Miss Scuzzi. Some Deshaun Watson. I agree, Deshaun Watson's trouble. That's why, if you're Howie Roseman, wouldn't you like? Why not just draft someone? Why not? I don't get it. I know that win now is the mentality, as it always should be, as far as I'm concerned. But with Deshaun Watson, why welcome that in and give up draft stock? Doesn't another young quarterback buy you more time? Well, maybe that's the other part of it. That Howie knows he's on a hot seat right now and needs to bring in somebody here he knows at least can play. It's a really weird thing. April, best case scenario, his name is cleared and he has a chip on his shoulder wherever he goes. That's Deshaun Watson. Yeah, we'll see how that works. I'm not saying that can't happen. Luigi, if Cole Hamels wears a Mets uniform, I'll cry. I'll be right there with you. Box of tissues. Usually it's just for my morning allergies, but no, this box of tissues, ladies and gentlemen, that will be used if Cole Hamels becomes a New York Metropolitan. Let's see what else we have here in our social media check-in. You guys are brutal, Sealski, every single day. Cole Hamels bobblehead night, sell out the city. I like that we have people excited for Cole Hamels. He's working out today. Hopefully the Phillies sign him. I think all the guests should be at the Farzy chat meetup. Dan, we got to get that done. Absolutely. John, why do you... John, have you said throughout the show, R.I.P. Todd McCulloch? He's not dead. Or is that just him as a radio play-by-play announcer that he's dead, or radio color analyst that he's dead? You know what Tom McCullough got into big time? Tom McCullough got into pinball. Apparently, he's like a world-class pinball player. Oh, this is a big deal. Okay, here we go. Let's see. April, so we were talking about the Jason Kelce story and how you pronounce Jason Kelce's name. Jason Kels, his name. April was asked to phonetically spell her name. And I'm going to see if I get it. Her name is Fuchs. Fuchs. And this might be the first time I'm seeing this phonetically. Fuchs. April Fuchs. I dated a girl for a while with the last name, her family's last name, her stepdad and her half-sister, Fluck. F-L-U-C-K. And they always said fluke. I think in other settings they said fluck. They always told me fluke, so that's what I went by. But this is Fuchs. April. I think that's how we're going to say that name. Zach checking in. What's up? New chat member. Feel like I'm rushing a fraternity. Need to be accepted. Longtime pod supporter. No, there's no initiation. You're good. Welcome to the club, Zach. Welcome to the club. As long as you're anti-Sealski, you fit in. That's very nice, guys. What else do we have here? People checking in on the show. I love puppies. I hate Sealski. How's that? That's good, Zach. You're welcome to the club. Brian Ray, no way, really? Utley and Dawkins were another breed. Missed that kind of fire. April, you're absolutely right. April, Fuchs. Jerry's in. NFL record for most pass completions in a season without a touchdown. Well, that's great. Let's bring that into Philadelphia. What else do we have here? Love Allah. Who doesn't love Allah? Allah's the man. We'll get Mark. I promise you, as I promised we'd get a weather lady, I promise you Natalie Eganoff will be on this show at some point. That's all I got to tell you. She'll be a fine guest of this program. John's calling me out for bragging that I dated a girl. That's it. God bless you, John. Is that what we got here? Fine, inconvenient. So we got, oh my God, I missed the weather girl. This is why kids suck. You let the kids raise themselves. Let the kids raise themselves. That's what I like to say. That's everyone that checked in on the social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine. Wait, Fuchs. Hard C. Fuchs. That's it. April's now correcting me. Fuchs. Pots and pans. T-Bro. All right. T-Bro says, can I get a birthday shout out to my wife, Mrs. It's T-Bro? And wait, it's April's anniversary? What the hell's going on here? What am I missing? All right. April's anniversary. Congratulations, April. And it's T-Bro's wife's birthday. Mrs. It's M-Bro. Mrs. M-Bro. Well, happy anniversary, April, and happy birthday, Mrs. It's M-Bro. If only there was a montage to celebrate these great events. Congratulations. Congratulations. All right, let's move on to our morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. Once again, thanks everyone that chimed in on our social media check-in. As per usual, our chat went crazy. Mitchell's saying that it went off the rails today. You damn right it did. So there you go. I don't mind. It's a Friday. We're going to get crazy on a Friday. It was Tobias Harris's birthday yesterday. 28 years old, I believe, or 27 years old, Tobias Harris. No, 28 years old, Tobias Harris. His birthday yesterday. Boban Marjanovic had to, of course, reach out to his best bud, Toby, and now add campaign partner. Here's the post that he put up yesterday for Toby.
Meanie, man,
Speaking of off the rails, now here's the other thing. If you were following any of the stuff that's been, any of the social media posts that were up there yesterday for Tobias Harris's birthday, I've discovered something. Tobias Harris has not aged at all. It's insane. If you look at his pictures that he was posting yesterday, he looks like the exact same. Somebody posted a picture of his like 5th birthday. He looks exactly the same. I look like if I show a picture of you from like when I was like 5 or 6 years old, I look like I'm my grandfather, like compared to then. I look nothing like, I got a big fat head then, a big fat head now. But I look nothing like I did when I was just a young pup. So anyway, happy birthday to Tobias Harris. Hope you had a wonderful day yesterday. What else do we have for today's show? Oh, it's not up here. All right. Something else for today's program. It's bothering me. And this is similar to the way I try to think about the Philadelphia fan base as not caring about what other people think. Like, we know us, and we're the only ones that know us. But this other story that's coming out here, like, over the last couple of months, I haven't heard a lot of the Nick Sirianni, and certainly on this show, I haven't done a lot of the Nick Sirianni bashing. Again, as I said yesterday, it's low-hanging fruit to just go out there and rip Nick Sirianni and say, oh, this guy can't coach, this guy can't win a locker room, the veterans don't believe in him. So I wanted to make sure I hit this for you one more time here, and it's from our conversation yesterday with Alex Singleton about when he joined us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line to talk about Nick Sirianni and the stories that are out there about whether or not he is winning over this locker room and whether or not the veterans feel as if he can lead this locker room. Here's Alex Singleton on the early impressions with his new head coach.
I'm excited. I mean, the competitiveness, you can see the drive in the game and the love for the game. And I think that's something, yeah, definitely no one in our locker room's got anything against it, because that's what, I mean, you want as a player. So it's cool when your head coach kind of embodies that same thing. And I'm like I said, I'm so excited to get back to be there. Just, obviously he's an offensive minded guy, but the way he does get involved with the defense, obviously the defensive staff is from different places, not necessarily where he's always been. And you can tell he understands the defense already. So a guy that puts himself into the game that much, I mean, it's awesome to see, and it's exciting to, obviously play for.
Is he pretty much as advertised? I mean, like, as we see him in press conferences, as we see him talk about football, Is he just like that with the guys?
Oh, yeah, he's just like that. I was actually, he he texted me this morning and was just like, what's up, dude? How's training? You ready? Like, let's go. So, he's young enough that he's, still kind of one of the guys. It's not, he's not that Doug was, late 60s, didn't know how to, use a phone. But,
Right.
It's just, you can tell, he's kind of, we have guys on the team that are, around the same age as him. So he's definitely still, one of the guys.
All right. Did you see those reports about not necessarily winning guys over in the locker room, questioning whether or not he can lead a team in the regular season? And if so, how would you respond to those?
Yeah, I think the same way. I saw, I follow Lane and Kelsey and, Fletcher and those guys, and they all were just like, who? Like, let's hear some names, because, I think, as a group, we all are excited to kind of have him lead us. And at the end of the day, I don't think whether you did or didn't like somebody in first impression, I mean, you gotta play some games or at least go through a training camp to be able to even think that. So I'm excited. I mean, I know they're excited. I know everybody top to bottom is just excited to be there with them. So I don't know any negative coming out of it.
It's just a shame. I feel bad for those Eagles. They just seem like they really, really hate Nick Sirianni and his inability to lead a team. I'm beside myself. How are we going to go about this season? They love the guy. Anytime you get a new boss in, for instance, and a new boss is like, hey, man, we're going to go. We're going to go. Like, at first, some of the veterans might be like, okay, you can chill the hell out, man. Just, like, calm down. But sooner or later, you're going to have fun with that. And I pointed out earlier in the week, talking about Joe Flacco, talking about how Nick Sirianni's, like, team-building exercises are corny, but a lot of them are supposed to be corny. And he's laughing about it. Like, it's a national story that Nick Sirianni hasn't won over this locker room fully yet. Locally, everybody's loving the guy from a team perspective. On this show, I told you we're not making fun of the guy. We're going to have fun with him. I loved the rock, paper, scissors bit. I even went out with Farzy in the field that week and played rock, paper, scissors with the people of Philadelphia. I love that a head coach found a way to test a player's competitiveness. As, by the way, as corny as it might be or might sound, it was like, all right, let me just see how competitive you are. Rock, paper, scissors. Let's go. I love that. Creative, outside the box thinking. In a virtual world, you got to come up with some new stuff. That's pretty damn new. I love it. So as far as everything else goes, all the other national media, all the other national noise, no, we've heard from enough players that have gone above and beyond defending their head coach, their new head coach, Alex Singleton. Who the hell, like, not for nothing. I love Alex Singleton, but as he told you when the FedEx guy on the show yesterday, when the FedEx guy told him, oh, I know who you are, the 90th guy on the roster, as Alex Singleton put it, who texts the 90th guy on the roster saying, hey, man, how's training? What's up? I'll tell you who does, Nick Sirianni. You got to love that. I don't know hell if he can design a game plan yet. I don't know if he can coach. I don't know if he can be a good play caller. I don't know if he's going to use Miles Sanders enough. But here's what I do know. As far as loving his players and loving the game, he's got all that down pat. And as far as these players wanting to play for him, so far that looks pretty good. But all of it's not going to matter until something hits the fan during the regular season, how he's going to handle adversity. Because ultimately, that's where leaders are made. That's where you see a guy and go, okay, I'll follow him. It's when they face adversity. And that'll be the real test. Right now, it's hugs and handshakes and text messages. How you doing? But when stuff really starts flying around, how they handle themselves, that's how you know you have a real leader. And that'll be the ultimate test for Nick Sirianni. And there's no way we get that until the regular season starts. That was our Morning Rush. NBA tomorrow, Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Bucks at the Suns. I can't believe it. Listening to Chris Paul talk about this just yesterday, about how the 17 turnovers in Game 4 affected their play and how he had 5 of them, and he had a couple of them there in the fourth quarter that were really bad. He chalked it up to poor play. Poor decision making. When the series started out, I picked the Bucks in 6 games. That's very possible. If it does end up going 7, the Suns obviously will have home court advantage there. I picked the Bucks. I'm pulling for the Suns, so I get kind of the best of both worlds here. But Giannis Antetokounmpo, as I've talked about many times, just looks like he's on a different level. He seems like he has that drive this postseason in particular. They went down, remember, 0-2 against the Nets. They came back, won the next 2 games at home. And then obviously they won that series in 7 games. Now they're in another situation just like that where they have an opportunity to still win this series in 6 games maybe. It could go 7. But now they're back tomorrow night, 9 o'clock tip-off on ABC in Game 5. I am going to pick in this one the Bucks to win this game, continue the momentum. And we'll see how the Suns respond after dropping 2 games in a row for just the second time this postseason. First time they did it since, I think, a healthy Anthony Davis and LeBron James played against him in the first round against the Lakers. So it's been a while since they lost back-to-back games. We'll see how they respond on their home court against the Bucks tomorrow night. I think the Bucks continue their momentum in that game. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. Much appreciated. Had a lot of fun with you guys today. And yeah, I was glad I was able to deliver our weather lady for today, as promised. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Her name is Annika. Hopefully you caught it earlier in the show, so give her a follow on Instagram. Thanks for watching. By the way, she's a business professional in Philadelphia. I'm sorry. Annika is a business professional in Philadelphia, a marketing professional to be more exact. And she loves great chat rooms on YouTube shows. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. My name is Marc Farzetta. Jim Hyden produced the program. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Monday. Take it easy.